That emperor, returning out of Spain, arrived in France, and his chief seat at Aix. Clomb to the palace, into the hall he came. Was come to him there Alda, that fair dame, said to the king, "Where's Roland, the captain, who sware to me he have me for his mate?" Then upon Charles a heavy sorrow weighed, and his eyes wept, he tore his beard again. "Sister, dear friend, of a dead man you spake. I'll give you one far better in exchange. That is Louis, what further can I say? He is my son, and shall my marches take." Alda answered him, "That word to me is strange. Never, please God, his angels and his saints, when Roland's dead, shall I alive remain." Her colour fails, at the feet of Charlemagne she falls, she's dead. Her soul God's mercy awaits. Barons of France weep therefore and complain. Alda the fair is gone now to her rest, yet the king thought she was but swooning then. Pity he had our emperor, and wept, took her in his hands, raised her from the earth again. On her shoulders her head still drooped and leant. When Charles saw that she was truly dead, 4 countesses at once he summoned. To a monastery of nuns they bare her thence. All night their watch until the dawn they held. Before the altar her tomb was fashioned well. Her memory the king with honour kept. That emperor is now returned to Aix. The felon Gan, all in his iron chains, is in that town, before the king's palace. Those serfs have bound him fast upon his stake. In deer-hide thongs his hands they've helpless made. With clubs and whips they trounce him well and baste. He has deserved not any better fate. In bitter grief his trial there he awaits. Written it is, in an ancient jest, how Charles called from many lands his men, assembled them at Aix in his chapelle. Holy that day, for some chief feast was held, Saint Sylvester's, that barons, many tell. Thereon began the trial and defence of Ganelon, who had the treason spelt. Before himself the emperor has him led. Lords and barons, Charles the king doth speak, of Ganelon judge what the right may be. He was in the host, even in Spain with me. There of my Franks 1,000 score did steal, and my nephew, whom never more you'll see, and Oliver, in his pride and courtesy, and wealth to gain, betrayed the dozen peers. "Felon be I," said Gan, "aught to conceal. He did from me much gold and wealth forfeit, whence to destroy and slay him did I seek. But treason, no, I vow there's not the least." Answered the Franks, "Take counsel now must we." So Ganelon before the king there stood, lusty his limbs, his face of gentle hue. Were he loyal, right baron-like he'd looked. He saw those Franks, and all who'd judge his doom, and by his side his 30 kinsmen knew. After he cried aloud, his voice was full, "For the love of God, listen to me, barons. I was in the host beside our emperor. Service I did him there in faith and truth. Hatred of me had Roland, his nephew. So he decreed death for me in dolour. Message I bear to King Marcelon. By my cunning I held myself secure. To that fighter Roland my challenge threw, to Oliver and all their comrades too. Charles heard that, and his noble barons. Vengeance I gat, but there's no treason proved." Answered the Franks, "Now go we to the moot."